All
Okay. We are discussing the parenting and like the types of parenting that we see in To Kill a Mockingbird
compared to now.
Compared to now, compared to real life stuff.
And keep it rolling.
Go.
So, we all know that Atticus is a pretty important character.
Yeah.
Don't you dare.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say it.
Please don't.
Remember,
say
this
it
is an
all.
English project.
I know.
Folks. It's
So yeah.
family friendly content
Anyway,
here.
Atticus,
only.
important character.
Yes.
Going.
He influences Gem and Scout a lot. We see that actively.
Yeah.
They mention him every
Other
every paragraph. They're like Atticus.
At least once
He's like
a chapter.
the go-to.
At least
man
once a
of
chapter,
fellows.
yeah.
Once a chapter.
And he's the main focus for the trial chapters for
Absolutely.
one of the
Obvious
main
reasons.
focuses for obvious reasons. Yeah. But
So
throughout the story,
It was yours, wasn't it?
we see a lot of how he changes his parenting style as Gem and Scout grow.
Yeah.
Cause he did the first cause in the beginning of the story, what was Gem was 10 and Scout was 6.
Yeah, I think that's right.
10 and 6.
Close
They
enough.
were young.
They were
Close
very
enough.
young.
Put it that way.
But he did the typical encouragement.
Yeah.
Here's explaining things.
He wasn't so punish-centric.
Yeah, no, he didn't really do. That was an actual quoted thing that he didn't discipline his kids really.
Almost at all.
Yeah, unless it really required it. But then, we see them messing. Cause sorry, I'm interrupting myself.
Yes, you are.
But even when he finds out the kids, cause I don't doubt that he didn't know that they were role playing Boo Radley's life outside
he actually quoted later in the book that he did know.
He did know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember him talking about that.
He didn't even really react that strongly then. He was like,
don't do that.
Please don't do that.
Nice,
He's
people.
just a guy.
Please just leave Arthur and Boo alone. They're just people.
Arthur and Boo are the same.
They are.
They are the same person.
Man, your sleep.
We know.
I woke up from a nap not long.
Okay. Anyway, I was doing a bunch of research, i.e. the papers. This one's just sources. But I was looking into how people generally parented in the 1930s and what the ideal parent looked like. And it was kind of hard sorting through all the things that were here's tips for mothers, and
here's what you should and shouldn't do.
Here's what you should and shouldn't do. I found one book, by the way, that was close to 1930s as possible. It was published in 1946. It's called The Common Sense Book of Baby and Child Care by Benjamin Spock, which is really funny to me because Mr. Spock, Star Trek. Professor Spock.
That's pretty funny.
But basically his book was used from the 50s when it started getting
actual attention.
Yeah, more attention because people were like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be hitting our kids all the time.
Or, parent correctly?
Parent
perhaps?
correctly, yeah.
Maybe?
I don't really...
Just a bit.
Yeah, I don't see there's a real perfect way to parent, but, maybe don't hit your kids. There's definite wrong ways, hitting your kids. Maybe don't do that. And his stuff, it was very, very important, very revolutionary from, 1946 to, late 80s, early 90s.
Because this guy's just kind of hey, so, let's lay down the foundations to what we should and shouldn't do as parents.
Yes. And I actually have a quote from his book here. I have 3, but I'm going to say one.
Lord. You did way too much research on that.
Maybe. It's fine. It's better to have more than less.
Fair.
This quote is generally about how there's no, like,
Just say the quote.
perfect way. Okay. And I quote,
Sorry.
"The more people have studied different methods of bringing up children, the more they have come to the conclusion that what good mothers and fathers instinctively feel like doing for their babies is best after all." That is one of his big quotes that everybody's like, yeah. This guy
But maybe
knows.
not.
Maybe not.
Then
Who
again.
knows? He means it in a good way, like parents should know.
Like in a way that each child is different, so you gotta parent them slightly different.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's basically saying that there's no right way to parent your kids besides, like abuse and stuff. That's not the right way to parent.
And if you think it is, you shouldn't be a parent.
Yeah. Definite
Definite red flag.
Yeah, definite red flag there. Don't hit your kids, folks. And it was
Don't worry, I won't hit them.
basically, I couldn't find a copy of the full book anywhere.
Duh. It's from 1940s. I'm not surprised.
We supposedly had one in my basement, but I couldn't find it.
You had one in your basement?
We collect antique books.
Fair point. You collect a lot of things.
You have a book of, like, old slang words, too.
I do, actually. Anyway, yeah, and he kind of lays out the, like, parents should know instinctively what they should do, but also here's some good tips on how to diplomatically, not be an idiot, but also diplomatically.
It wasn't an instruction book, it was more of guiding them.
Yeah, guidance books. And then I was looking up, hey, here's what are different types of parenting. It's kind of like a quadrant type deal where you're somewhere in alignment.
Politics. Sorry. I just had...
Actually,
that's I had to. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's kind of... No, that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
It's...
Wow, Isaac.
I'm sorry.
Congrats.
You accidentally got it right.
Congratulations. Accidental rightness.
I hate how I'm right sometimes.
What I found that almost exactly lines up with how Atticus parents is called democratic parenting.
Wow, I was really right, wasn't I?
This is not a political podcast. We're
sorry.
not bringing politics in. It was not at all popular until the 1980s because people were like, let's spank you kids. That works.
It
Don't
doesn't.
quote me on that. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Lapata. That's what my great grandma and great aunt used. It's just a wooden spoon.
No, not that.
She doesn't actually hit kids. She just threatens them with lapata. Like, she has one labeled with Sharpie on it that's lapata.
Really?
Yeah, she has it labeled.
Wow.
This lady is Russian, and she is aggressive.
That makes a lot of sense now,
I hope,
actually.
Auntie Mary, I hope you don't see this. I don't mean anything bad by this. But it was mainly a threat tactic, and that's how she was raised and how my great grandma was raised. Because we're not talking about my past. We're going to talk about To Kill a Mockingbird and parenting.
So yeah,
The
threats were used a lot in a lot of older parenting.
And even physical discipline. Like, there's a chapter, the first day of school chapter, where Scout gets reprimanded with a slap on the wrist with a ruler. Is that what it is? Or was it spanking?
No,
or was it back of the hand?
It was a ruler.
It was the ruler on the back of the hand.
Hand or wrist, one of the two.
It was back in the hand.
But getting whipped with a ruler by a teacher nowadays,
That
would get you fired very fast. Obviously,
unless you're in a Catholic school.
Yeah.
True.
But we're not.
But they have their own rules.
In public school, let's say in public school, you definitely teacher would get fired. End of story.
Almost guaranteed.
But children they didn't explain a lot to children. They just kind of left them to their own devices, and even if then...
For most parents.
Yeah, most parents. Not Atticus, though. He was he did leave them to to their own devices, but he also explained things and
When they
He explained
didn't hit
things,
his
which
kids.
is something I really like because
yes,
not a lot of parents explain reasoning.
even nowadays.
Oh God, yeah.
I am a babysitter to, well, I babysit
To the mom boss.
no. His name is Giovanni. He has an Italian name.
He
We
sounds like
call
He's
him
a
a
mob
mob
boss.
boss.
He's close enough. It's fine. Hopefully.
And I mean, I try to. It's hard with a toddler because
Yeah, he's still
toddler.
just a toddler.
It's toddlers. But I've watched 3 elementary school age kids. I'm not gonna say their names because reasons. Parents.
Carry on.
Baby.
Go on. Speak.
And it was hard sometimes. It's hard to be honest with kids all of the time.
Because they ask so many questions.
But they have so many questions.
Yeah.
And
my nieces and nephews, 50 questions all of the time.
yeah, it's hard to be honest all of the time, especially with harder topics, but in To Kill a Mockingbird, we see Atticus take that and explain it in a really good way. Like, he tries his hardest to explain things. We actually have the talk with his brother Jack,
I cannot confirm this.
the doctor.
Uncle Jay.
Jay. I think it might have been Jay. I don't remember.
I meant Jay
Go on
as in the
anyways.
letter,
His
not the
brother,
name.
his brother, where, cause he spanked Scout because she fought her cousin. Tried to fight her cousin. He spanked her.
I thought it was because she was using foul language.
A little bit of that also,
It was kind of.
but it was mainly because she wanted to fight him. And
Yeah. Point is, he punished her without knowing the full story.
Yeah,
and
and-
that's what Atticus tries not to do.
yeah, and we get an actual emotional confrontation with Scout and Uncle Jack. I'm fairly
Uncle Jack.
Uncle name.
No, I think that's his name, Uncle Jack. Where Scout was confused why she was punished like that because that's not how she's used to.
Yeah.
And then we cut after the whole emotional confrontation with them. They have a little talk, Jack and Atticus.
Jack was just kind of like, "Jeez, how do you do it? I don't know how parenting works."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He starts off with, "You really don't hit those kids, huh?"
Yeah.
And that's not a direct quote.
Such a-
It's not
It
a
actually is a direct quote.
Is it? Did I say that? Wow.
It's a direct quote. That is a direct quote.
Huh. Anyway.
But yeah, because it was such a normal thing to.
It was a
hit your
normal thing.
kids.
People were more. That's my main point in
More
this.
likely to hit their children back then.
Yeah.
As a punishment, I guess.
Yeah, and people were confused or even like angry
Even
when you
not that long
didn't.
ago.
Yeah, not that long ago.
Some people still do.
Yeah.
Or are confused at why you don't.
Yeah, like generally the main theme is that Atticus is not exactly praised for his parenting other than Gem and Scout, but
Everyone
Because
else
they're
looks
Gem
at
and Scout,
their
not because of
parenting
their
as
parenting.
very alien.
yeah, they're like confused. Some of them are like, "Why don't you hit your kids?" Which is really weird. Why do you want to hit your kids? Nobody should want to hit their kids. Cause like,
That's a good way to segue into Bob Yule, actually. Good
well,
point.
segue into the abuse section
Yeah.
of the thing. Most people don't react to how Bob or Arthur is treated at
Yeah.
all. Like
Well,
everybody's
how
like,
Bob
that's just
treats
how it
his
be.
kids.
Everybody's just like, that's how it be sometimes.
Yeah, which felt
No.
so weird. Because in the case, it was revealed that Bob definitely was.
At least physically abusing her. And
Yeah.
At least.
At least, and most definitely implied that he was sexually abusing her also.
Yeah, and people were reacting.
People were just like...
They. Well,
Yeah.
it was
They
more
weren't
of the
outraged.
lack of reaction.
Yeah, it was the lack of reaction that was like, what's happening? Where's the
Yeah.
Are you
reaction?
gonna follow up with this? No, nothing.
No,
Like,
no
you have to
case, no
have
charge. She's
some
just
reason.
released. And then also Arthur. Everybody's just like, that's how their family
rat
works.
leaves
It's
live.
none of our business. Even though everybody loved to make it their business.
Yeah. Because, I mean, he's
Not
been
wrong.
shut in there, what,
15 years. At least 15 years ago.
Yeah, I guess you're right. He was shut in when he was 15, so he should,
Yeah, at least 15 years. And everybody's just kind of like, yeah, that's how their family is.
Just a little quirky.
This guy has been locked in his house, secluded from civilization
for
15 years.
Straight, or almost straight.
And we see blatant examples of this with how Nathan, how Nathan Radley treats him, because we get the whole cementing the tree up.
Yeah.
Even though it's not dying, we get that clarification that the tree is not dying.
The tree is fine.
There's no need to cement it.
Cut off his.
Communication.
Yeah, communication.
Communication. Yeah. As close to it as he could get.
Social interaction.
Nobody reacts. Everybody's just like, that's how their family is.
Yeah, that's just how the Radleys are, or how the Ewells are.
Yeah.
Even though the parenting in it is absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And by the end of the book, Arthur, when he saves Gem and Scout, would be considered a criminal for killing Bob Ewell, even though he was going to kill, or try to kill Gem and Scout anyways.
Well,
just because of who he is.
Actually, I think it was more of he didn't want it.
He didn't want the attention on
so
that too. It's kind of a mix of both.
Because,
Hectate.
Radley could have easily used Defense of Others as.
Yeah. In the 1930s, I didn't look into laws, but I don't know how much that one applied.
Defense of Others is applied pretty much the same as self-defense, but
But with all of his years spent in the house from his family, he probably would have.
He wouldn't have been able to handle it.
No.
I think that's what the point of that was.
Either legally or literally.
Yeah. Another thing is that narrator Scout at the end actually says she never saw him again. So he just went back to being locked in that house, and
probably till he died.
Yeah, nobody did anything, which is crazy.
At the point he, I guess, came out, he didn't want to stay out because he was staying there for so long.
He was in there for so long that that's just his normal.
Kind of like a Stockholm Syndrome type thing.
Yeah.
Almost. Because nowadays you can't even, you can't do that to a person even 2 weeks, and a wellness check would be called, and they'd be like, what are you doing in there? Hello? Yeah. Oh, you're secluding your kid for religious reasons? Huh?
Not even for religious reasons, just in general.
Yeah.
Just because he was a rebellious kid.
Yeah.
Well,
it was a little bit of both.
Miss Maudie implied that the Radleys, the older ones, were so terrified, the whole foot washing Baptist thing.
Yeah.
They were so terrified because Boo was having fun that he was going to hell. He was being
a rebellious child.
Yeah, he was being a rebellious child, and they were like, how are we going to solve this?
Get the shackles.
Let's not. Yeah, no, he was handcuffed to the basement thing.
Yeah.
And nobody even reacted
He was literally handcuffed into his house, and everyone was just like, oh well.
It's not our business.
In the basement of the
courthouse.
Courthouse, yeah.
Also, he was left there until
the courthouse one was more just because they didn't want to bring him to the jail.
It wasn't.
No, it was because they didn't take him home. They had to force old Mr. Radley. I don't think
because he was going to die if he stayed there any longer.
Because of the mildew and stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't a good time.
That's so drastically different than how Atticus' parents, because Atticus' parents, good. Other hand, abuse.
Twice over with Bob Ewell.
Yeah, but the reaction is completely opposite from what you'd expect. Is the cat gonna come up here?
I just realized our music turned off.
Our music did stop. We're talking enough, it doesn't matter.
Fair point.
The completely opposite reactions is kind of jarring to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
because they're shocked at the good parenting and just that's just how it be at the
others.
Bad ones.
Well, we could tie this into our own parenting experience. My parents, they're not very religious.
I think we could tie this into yours more because my parents are
very laid back.
Yeah, they're more like Atticus than anything.
Yeah, my parents
They
are definitely
shockingly like Atticus.
Yeah.
I don't think about
My
it.
parents are also a lot like Atticus in the sense that they kind of just let us be just where are you, like let me know where you are,
Make sure
where you're
fine.
going, when you're getting back.
That's how my mom is.
And yeah, it's all of our parents
Are pretty decent.
Are pretty decent. They try to be. There's
Yeah.
definitely ups and downs. You know,
They're
human
trying,
beings.
the
They're
point.
trying. Like Atticus is trying to help these kids. There's actually the section where he's trying to teach Jem about real courage with the Mrs. DeBose.
Huh? Oh yeah, you're right.
Where he's like,
it's not someone with a rifle.
real courage. Do I have it on here? I should.
You probably do.
I want you to see what real courage is instead of getting the idea that courage is a man with a gun in his hand. It's when you know you're licked before you begin. You begin anyway and see it through no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole lesson.
Because the odds are against you doesn't mean you can't give it your best shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's very good at teaching lessons to his children.
Yes.
Even in the worst of circumstances.
Yeah.
Like,
especially with the bullying that was going on at the school because
and the trial.
The trial.
The trial was the main point where we saw Atticus's parenting evolve because these children were learning and growing and learning twice. Growing so much in such a short amount of time that he was kind of a little...
Yeah, they were experiencing so much in so little that it changed quite a bit.
Yeah, and even in a little bit of the later chapters, what chapter is it? The one where they're having Sunday tea, where Scout's having Sunday tea with
it's
Alexandra.
just the missionary group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
that one.
Sunday small group, whatever thing.
Yeah.
Cat.
That's Batman.
Cat's Batman, our special guest. Say some words.
So much hair.
He's shedding. He's always shedding. Anyway.
Should have grabbed my brush.
We see Aunt Alexandra actually become better at handling Jem and Scout.
Yeah, because at first she was very, if you don't do things my way, then it's the wrong way.
Yeah.
Or don't do them at all.
Yeah, and in the end...
She was a lot more lenient.
She would rather have her be more feminine than anything.
Yeah.
That is a good question. What is he doing?
He's looking at the microscope.
Cat. Anyways.
And yeah, we actually see the point where she's reached this final evolution, at least in the book. That I know that sounded like a Pokemon reference. I didn't even try to.
Gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them all. Aunt Alexandria, we see her final, like, where she hands the overalls, which Scout's, like, has this cheeky little, the thing she hated most moment, like...
Your babe has become my tool.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking like she is an all-knowing creature.
Power!
Woo!
Unlimited.
And so, well, let me see what's in my notes.
Anything else we need to talk about other than people that I don't want to talk about?
I had a little bit more notes on the religious aspect, because, like, because I genuinely looked up what religious abuse typically looked like in people, and it was, like...
I was just going to say, isn't it just abuse in, like, pursuit of a religion or something?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oof, king.
But a big aspect is, like, them wanting to keep them safe.
Yeah.
Safe and precious and close to them.
Into their religion.
Wanting to keep
into their religion.
Safe and pure and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, fun stuff. Parenting we see actually tends to be pretty accurate. I'm guessing that's because the author was born in the 1930s and knew what it was like being raised in the 1930s, guys.
1930s and 40s.
Wow, we're going through all sorts of revelations today. Revelation. Okay, anyway. And cut!
Come on.
No! Anyway,
will roast you every time.
I think that's everything I have. Do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Do you have anything you want to
Not
add?
really.
Well, cut.
Buy Subway stocks.
What?
No. We're gonna have to censor that. Get sponsored by Subway for our English project. That'd be fun.
How? Just how?
Determination.
It's Subway.
Anyway, that's it.
Anyway.
That's all.